So that should be it right here. So we'll jump up here and get the true top of Meloon Hill, just over 600 feet. Welcome back to another hiking adventure. I am back in Pawtuckaway once again. I love hiking in this park. So the ultimate goal today is to hike up Meloon Hill. I have hiked up the north, middle, south, and west peaks. So Meloon Hill is another little hill within the ring of Pawtuckaway. So I started from the state park headquarters. The state park not officially open for the season yet. So walking down the state park road right now. I'm gonna take this to the mountain trail. And I've made it to the trailhead for the mountain trail. It's gonna take this out to the Round Pond Trail off this way. And we've made it to the intersection with the Round Pond Trail. So the mountain trail continues off that way, but we are going to head off this way. So as I continue down the Round Pond Trail, I have never actually hiked the Round Pond Trail before. So the last time that I was here, I expressed an interest in redlining of Pawtuckaway. That was a little while ago now, but this hike is going to knock out a good chunk of trail. A good portion of this 6-mile hike is a hike that I have not yet done, trails that I've not done. So we are going to continue on the Round Pond Trail. This will take us to the North Mountain Trail. I have hiked up North Mountain and the West Peak, but the section of the North Mountain Trail that I will be hiking today is a section that I have not done as well. So let's keep doing it. There's a nice little wetland for you. Got a nice babbling brook down this side. Of course, that babble is caused by the culvert, but the stream continues on down that way. So I think in my last video, that little update I did, the middle of the blizzard of 2026, I think I said something about snowshoeing, which the snow is gone here in the middle of April, but you know, when you're in the middle of a raging blizzard like that, it's hard to imagine a world where the outside conditions are like this. Just when you're in the middle of that blizzard. But the snow is gone. It's going to be 60 degrees today. It's going to be up around 70 the rest of the week. So we continue to gain some elevation. So we will continue here in the spring. There's a nice boulder for you. In most hikes, I would call that the boulder of the hike, but since we are in the land of the big boulders, I'm going to hold off on that designation. Alright, so we have come up to Reservation Road. So just beyond Reservation Road, after crossing the street, we will continue on the Round Pond Trail to the North Mountain Trail. And we've made it to the junction with the North Mountain Trail. The Round Pond Trail continues down that way, but we are going to stick to the North Mountain Trail. Won't be going all the way to the North Mountain Summit today. That's 2.4 miles from here. Alright, so the North Mountain Trail starts descending right there. The top of Meloon Hill is right off of the trail. So that should be it right here. So we'll jump up here and get the true top of Meloon Hill, just over 600 feet. There's a smaller, much lesser known little hill here than the big three of Pawtuckaway, south, middle, and north. So here it is. Welcome to the top of Meloon Hill. Another little hill here in the books. We've done a lot of these sub 1,000 foot hills. Always fun to find. These are lesser known little named hills. Alright, so we'll head back to the trail. So I'm going to follow the North Mountain Trail for a bit more down that way. But if we pan off this way, you can see North Mountain in the distance right there. Very obstructed view through the trees. But that bump right there is North Mountain. So I will continue down this section of North Mountain Trail. Again, we're not going to go all the way to North Mountain today. But in the Red Line quest, I will finish the section of the North Mountain Trail that I have not yet done. So keep going. We'll keep going down Meloon Hill now. This trail blazing white, by the way. Same as the Round Pond Trail. And we have made it to the junction with Reservation Road. So this is where I parked to hike up North Mountain when I did North Mountain a few years ago. So right across the street, I have already hiked that section of North Mountain Trail. So I have now 100% hiked the entire North Mountain Trail. So I did just cross the street. There is the old foundation just off the trail. Very interesting. So just down the street from the main trailhead for North Mountain, Reservation Road is right there. Come up to old cemetery here, old family cemetery. Of course, the home foundation down the street. Here is the cemetery up on a knoll. Of course, this section of Pawtuckaway was home to a small village long before it was a state park. Here is the family cemetery. This is a bit of an expansive cemetery out here. A lot of these older cemeteries set in the woods tend to be smaller and more compact. This one is pretty spread out here. So I have made my way back toward the summit of Meloon Hill. It's a nice boulder right near the top of the hill. That was the main goal today, so we're going to name that right there the boulder of the hike. Right there. That's a good sized one. We're not really in the area of Pawtuckaway's biggest boulders. That's a pretty good sized one for most places, but for Pawtuckaway, that one's kind of on the smaller end. But anyway, I'm now going to head back to the state park headquarters. This was an out and back, so that's what I'm doing now. Alright, so I'm back out to the other side of Reservation Road. This could be kind of a confusing park at times. And a nice reminder not to always blindly listen to your GPS, as I'm sure some people drive down here looking for the parking area on the other side of Reservation Road. Like I said, it can be kind of a confusing park at times, but we're now going to follow the Round Pond Trail back to the mountain trail, back to the state park headquarters. Alright, so we've made it back to this nice wetland area. So since this is just an out and back and everything is repeat hiking, I'm going to sign it off right here at this nice spot. So, a bit closer to finishing a Pawtuckaway Red Line for me, as we've completed the Round Pond Trail and the North Mountain Trail. So I hope that you enjoyed this hike as much as I did. Thank you for watching. And what hike would be complete without ducks?